to. Malik Beasley scored 26 points. Cade Cunningham had 21 points, 11 assists, and the Detroit Pistons beat the Boston Celtics 117-97 on Wednesday night in a matchup of two of the NBA's hottest teams. The Pistons, 33-26, won their 8th straight and ended a 12-game losing streak against Boston 2 nights after stopping a 10-game skid against the LA Clippers. Wendy, back here with us. Wendy, here's what I want to know. Do you feel like this result shows some weakness for Boston? No, I'm not. I have no worries about Boston. They've proven themselves. This is all about a celebration of Detroit.
Absolutely.
1 year ago today, guys, 1 year ago today, they were 8-49. If you're a fan of the Suns, if you're a fan of the 76ers, if you're a fan of the Jazz or whoever teams are struggling, you want to believe that it's possible to turn a team around. Look at that. That's an incredible stat just right there. Okay? They haven't had more than 23 wins, Stephen A., in like 7 or 8 years.
That's right.
Okay? And what's so impressive about this is that, so J.B. Bickerstaff is the head coach.
Coach of the year.
Trajan Langdon has been around the NBA for 25 years. Mm-hmm. He didn't have a deep relationship with J.B. Bickerstaff. He got this job to be the president of the team. He makes one of the most important hires he could possibly make in the job. And he hired a guy that he didn't have a relationship with. Why? Because he believed he was the right man for the job. And when they interviewed, they connected, they did it. That was a risk that has paid off perfectly.
Let me say this. I said that J.J. Redick for the Los Angeles Lakers is a Coach of the Year candidate. I did not say he's Coach of the Year. J.B. Bickerstaff is the Coach of the Year. I can't believe, I am shell-shocked at what I have seen from Detroit. I'm so happy for Malik Beasley. Cade Cunningham, this brother's averaging over 25 a game. He's averaging over 9 assists per game. This brother is special. Former #1 overall pick, 11th in the NBA in scoring, 3rd in assists. Okay, I just told you about Malik Beasley. You're looking at the Pistons. They're 6th seed in the Eastern Conference right now. They would avoid the play-in. This is a year after they went 14-68 with a 28-game losing streak, okay? I'm looking at that. I'm looking at them ending a 12-game skid against Boston 2 nights after ending a 10-game skid against the Clippers. And I want to say this name because you don't hear this name almost never. His name is Troy Weaver. He is the former assistant GM in OKC who was running things in Detroit before they let him go. He picked this squad. Langdon hired J.B. Bickerstaff. Those players are Weaver. He gave them about $60 million in cap space. He picked these players. We don't mention him enough.
We got to hit the top of the hour, like super quick, 10 seconds. How close are they to your Knicks?
Close enough. Close enough to make me uncomfortable, to make me entertain the possibility that the Knicks are going in the first round.
All right.
I want to see that series.
What an ESPN NBA Friday doubleheader this is. The top teams in the East square off at 7:30 Eastern. Donovan Mitchell leads the Cavs into Boston to take on Jason Tatum and the Celtics. Then in the West, the next battle of LA between James Harden and the Clippers and LeBron, Luka, and the Lakers. NBA Countdown tips off our coverage at 7 Eastern. Quick take, let's get it. Elle, this one's for you. Last night, the Blazers, Shaedon Sharpe threw this insane poster against the Wizards. How would you rate it?
What number is that?
That sound was the rating.
Good God, that man has children probably. What? Like, that, put it on a poster. Make that the new logo. That was impressive.
What are these kids eating, man?
God.
But the slam dunk champion is a G League.
Okay, here we go.
Let's move on.
Yeah, we don't have time for that. All right. Staying in the association, the Lakers look to stay hot tonight against Anthony Edwards and the visiting Timberwolves. Los Angeles is 3-2 with Luka Doncic in the lineup and could jump the Rockets for 4th place in the Western Conference with a win. Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets, they're in Milwaukee tonight to face Giannis and the Bucks. Denver has won 10 of its last 11, including Monday against the Pacers when Jokic had a career-high 19 assists. The Warriors look to improve to 7-1 since the Jimmy Butler trade as they play the Magic starting their 5-game road trip. Golden State has scored at least 125 points in 5 of 7 games since the trade. The Thunder have the shortest title odds of any Western Conference team at +210, and the Nuggets are next at 12-1, followed by the Lakers at 16-1, and then the Warriors and the Grizzlies. Okay, looking at our rook over here, Rudy Gay, you're up first. How many legit contenders are there in the West?
Legit contenders. Only one. I believe it's only one really legit contender, and that's the Denver Nuggets. They've been there. Jokic is having a great year. Like, like his numbers are insane. Like, we keep on trying to find a new person to put at the top for MVPs. It's like he can't win another MVP. Like, and his stats keep getting better. I just honestly think Coach Malone is a great coach. And I just think they've been there. They've been to the mountaintop, and they know how to get back there. They might have a couple shortcomings during the season, but I think if any team knows how to turn it on, it'll be this.
You're not an OKC believer?
Not yet.
Huh. Stephen A?
Shout out to Mark, though.
Yeah.
UConn Huskies.
Legit contenders in the Western Conference, I'm going to say probably 5.
5.
I think okay.
5.
Okay, so Rudy says 1 and you have 5.
That's right.
All right,
That's
this is a discrepancy. Let's break it down.
Well, let me tell you why. Because a whole bunch of people can beat everybody. We saw Minnesota come back from a 25-point deficit and beat the #1 seed in the West, OKC, the other night. We saw that, right? I'm looking at OKC. We got to put Denver because of Jokic, right? LeBron and Luka, we can't summarily dismiss that, right? That's 3 right there, okay? And I'm also looking at the Golden State Warriors in the 8th slot. I'm not summarily dismissing them because I've seen what they've been since Jimmy Butler has arrived, as I pointed out, Rudy, when I talked about Jimmy Butler being an entirely different element than Klay Thompson would bring you. Klay Thompson is a sniper, similar to Steph Curry. Jimmy Butler is not that kind of player, but gets to the basket, definitely gets to the free throw line at a +9 clip. And as a result, that ranks like 6th in the NBA in terms of the average amount of free throws he takes per game since he's been in Golden State. I'm looking at all of those things spelling to some degree for a Steph Curry, for a Draymond Green, which makes them both formidable, more formidable in doing what they do. Steph Curry's case, scoring and moving without the basketball. Draymond Green in terms of his intensity, his energy, his defensive prowess. I'm thinking about Golden State. And last but not least, I'm going to say Dallas. I didn't even mention Minnesota yet. Maybe I should, the way Anthony Edwards and what he's capable of. But definitely Dallas. And let me tell you why Dallas. Because y'all keep looking at Dallas without Anthony Davis and Daniel Gafford. They're both expected back. And when those brothers get back, and you got Kyrie and Klay and PJ, I'm sorry. The Dallas Mavericks can make some noise. And they could come out of the West, too. And they got Christie from the LA trade. I'm telling you right now, sleep on them if you want to. I got those 5 with Minnesota as an honorable mention. I could have made a case for 6 because they all could beat each other.
Not to cut you off, I don't think any of them have what Denver has. And that's continuity. There's so many trades and stuff going on. This Denver team has known each other. They play with each other. They've put in a couple players, but they do not have. Shout out to Russell Westbrook.
They also lost to Minnesota last year.
And they have lost, and they've also won a championship. So
2 years ago.
Yeah, well, with the same players, same core. And you have Jamal Murray, who is a better player, who's playing better. He's getting better, coming off that injury he had. I do think they're a legit contender.
I'm not sold on Memphis and Houston. Houston because of their youth and Memphis because of their shooting.
Neither of you guys are going to be welcome in Memphis, including former Grizzlies great Rudy Gay.
That's right.
Let me just say, I was talking to Western Conference GM yesterday, one of these teams, and he says to me, I know Oklahoma City's finishing first. I have no idea who's finishing 2 through 9. I have no idea where we're going to finish 2 through 9. The coaches of these teams, and he goes, here's the thing. None of us fear each other. We all think we can beat each other, but we all know that we're all flawed in some ways and we can get beat. So I think from a fan's perspective, this is very exciting. From the question which you've got here, how many teams do I think can actually win it? I think I got a list of 4, and that list is growing. A couple of weeks ago, guys, I would have been right with Rudy, and I would have said Denver, and absolutely Oklahoma City. I feel like I'm one of the few people on the national stage who's defending the Thunder, who I think are an awesome team and remain my favorite, although I think it's going to get hairy for them. But I'm watching the Lakers and how they're defending, and I can't ignore it. I can't ignore this defense. Now, if I watch them over the next few weeks, and Stephen A., you know what I want to watch this weekend? The Clippers are playing at the Lakers twice, and you know Ty Lue is one of the best game planners. Somebody's got to take advantage of this interior weakness on the Lakers, but nobody has so far. So I'm watching the Lakers, who've been the #1 defense in the league for 6 weeks. 6 weeks, not 6 games, 6 weeks. I got to pay attention to that. And then listen, whatever you want to say about Draymond Green, the other day he says, I think we can win the championship. And people laughed at him. And then he
You're
came back.
laughing now.
He came back again. And he said, "No, you heard what I said. I doubled down on that." And the reason he's saying that is because of what he feels with his team, but also what he looks in the West. So I'm looking and paying attention to those two teams. Those are sort of on my watch list. With the opportunity, I could move it to more, Stephen A. I could feel that way about the Mavericks after a few more weeks when AD comes back.
I wouldn't
See,
expect
exactly. Wendy caged it perfect because Stephen A. could make some noise is not the same as a legit contender. Wendy at least recognizes there are some teams that he's going to be watching that could, but that are not necessarily legit contenders. I'm with you that I think there are 4. I think there are 2 no-brainers that are legit contenders, that being the Nuggets for the aforementioned reasons, and also OKC, right? Because they got better from last year. They added more defense. Hartenstein and Caruso have been great. And they also, what did they lack last year? What was the thing that we kept saying? It prevented us from being full-throated about whether they could actually win. It was their lack of experience. Because entering the season last year, SGA had played 13 games in the playoffs. Lou Dort had played 6, and the rest of their starters hadn't played any. So they've got at least another run under their belt. But I'm also with you on the Lakers, and I'm sorry. Like, I know you sort of mentioned them and said the shooting is an issue, but I'm looking at the Grizzlies too. I'm looking at the team that's currently sitting at number 2 in the Western Conference that has Ja Morant not playing to Ja Morant levels, not playing very much at all, in fact. I think he's averaging less than 28 points per game. Jaren Jackson, their leading scorer, also averaging under 30 points per game. I'm looking at a team right now that it appears is being very strategic about when and how they are using their stars, and I don't think they're anything to sleep on when we're talking about this potential postseason run. I could see it. And I see that you agree.
My name is not Brian Windhorst. My lingo is not the same as his. When I say you can make some noise as it pertains to this discussion coming out of us, that's what I'm talking about as a contender. They can make some noise, okay? And you get that look from me, so I ain't mad about it. I admire it. Way to go. Imitation is the best form of flattery. Bottom line is this. I meant what I said. Those teams, those 5 teams could make some noise. Any of them could come out of the West. Any of them.
Rudy, after hearing all them, why are you still stuck just on Denver?
Because they've been there. I mean, you could say whatever you want. I think all these guys are just fighting to be where they've been with the same team. I'm really sold on Jamal Murray being healthy, Jokic being Jokic, and you know, everybody around knowing their role. I honestly think they're capable of making another run. And by the way, we're talking about Draymond. What else do we expect Draymond to say? Like, he's going to say we're going to win. He does that every year.
Wait. Let's defend Draymond in this way. I mean, you talking about Denver winning 1 title. Dre got 4. So if you're gonna believe in Denver, why can't you believe in Draymond? That's number 1. That's number 1. And number 2, Wendy, you listening to this man talking about, he act like we didn't see Denver go home in the 2nd round last year. And was it me? I saw him go home. Did you see him go home?
Everybody has to go home at some point. Everybody has to go home at some
anymore.
point, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. 5 teams can come out.
Rudy,
85 to 6
I'm
teams
just
come out of the
curious.
West.
Hold up one second. Rudy, where are you on the Warriors right now? Because at first, when we were at the Super Bowl, when the news broke about Jimmy Butler, and Stephen A. was like, I'm not moved, and then he came on Countdown and apologized and said I was wrong, and obviously thinks that they can make some noise or they're a contender, whichever term we want to use here. Do you believe in the Warriors? Do you feel like Jimmy Butler's a difference maker for them?
I do believe in them. I don't believe in them to be a championship contender this year, just based off of you know, they're smart players. Like, Jimmy's not your average player. He's kind of a plug-and-play player. He can play on both sides of the ball. But, you know, like people have said before, it takes time to be able to play with Steph Curry and know how to maximize that talent. Like, he's a talented player, and you know, Draymond has been that glue guy, and it can move it on quicker than usually. But, you know, I think it's going to take some time for that continuity, and they still need a couple more pieces, too.
All right.
Well, all they're saying, I still think the champion's coming out of the East. Boston and Cleveland. That's just me.
Everyone else co-sign on that before I go to break? Yes. You think it's coming out of the East?
Out of the East.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on the ESPN.